Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called A Vision Test. I worked for a manager who would deliberately set up employees to fail by making unreasonable requests. They'd then use the failure as a reason to deny raises, promotions, and transfers. For example, I was asked to create a one-page report with an amount of information that would take around 4 pages. Knowing that more than one page would impact my annual review, I resorted to malicious compliance. The report contained all of the required information and fit on a single page. And my boss learned that 3-point font is a thing and that they needed glasses. The next story is called Not My Job. A few years ago, I was the primary faculty advisor and chair for admissions to a highly competitive health science program at a small public college. While that may sound impressive, it's basically a way of saying that I was the lowest on the totem pole, but had all of the responsibility overseeing admissions for this program. In order to try and make the department even stronger, they added a new degree option to that health science program that largely overlapped with existing classes. In fact, the only change they had to make was to add one 8-credit-hour course to make the new degree option. Since I was so low on the totem pole, I had no part in the process for this. But as the lone advisor, I had to learn all of the ins and outs of it, so I could advise students and potential applicants. Because of this, I found a problem where the new class was added to the course schedule and added to the college catalog, but it was not officially added to the new major. This would cause trouble for financial aid, and down the road, when they apply for graduation. It may seem like a small thing, but if it's not officially required for the major, financial aid won't pay for it. I pointed this out to my supervisor, who thanked me for catching it, and asked me to inquire about how we correct this. So I sent an email to someone, middle management, who might be able to help, asking questions and proposing possible short-term solutions, until the curriculum committee could meet to make the changes official. After the email, there was silence for a week. Therefore, I sent a follow-up email. The next morning, I received an email from one of the VPs, chewing me out for overstepping my bounds, trying to make changes I didn't have authority to make, and a reminder that they know how to do their jobs, and that I was expected to stay in my lane. This email included my supervisor, multiple deans, 2 department heads, and another VP. So fine, I dropped it. I was already looking for other jobs, and ended up leaving the following year. So what do I care? Fast forward 3 months. We were about 10 days away from this new class starting, with the first cohort of 10 students in this new degree, and I started getting phone calls and emails from all over the place. The problem I pointed out still hadn't been fixed. Now the financial aid and registrar's offices are dealing with angry students, who just found out each will have to pay for an 8-credit class out of pocket. Both departments were reaching out to me, asking for help to get this fixed before the VP found out about it. I just forwarded the email I received from the VP with a message that I was instructed to stay out of this, and that their bosses were aware that I was not to be involved. It's officially not my problem. The proper way to make this happen involves making the proposed changes to a committee. Then those changes would have to be approved by the executive board. For various reasons, this could not happen between then and the start of the class. So the VP contacted the state chancellor's office to see what kind of workaround the state would approve to get this done now. However, the college was denied any exceptions. In the end, the college ended up having to swallow the cost of this course for all 10 students, no less than $25,000. The third story is called Friends of the Store. I spent 7 years working as a cashier at a grocery store throughout high school and university summers. My boss was and still is the store owner at the store I worked at. And he was incredibly hated, but also feared, because he was so mean. His own son worked there and disliked him, but in front of customers, he was as fake as can be. He was always enforcing the tiniest things. Like during Christmas time, he wanted the Christmas hats grouped around the numbers of the tilts, instead of on our heads. I sometimes took them off and wore them, and he would aggressively pluck them off my head and berate me when nobody was around. That kind of thing. The store used to charge 25 cents per plastic bag used, back when plastic bags were a thing. One time, a customer was a friend of the owner's, so he told me to not charge them. It's on the house for any friend of ours, he said as he slapped me on the back. Well, the next customer had seen the full exchange, and when it was his turn, he said, "Hey, I'm a friend too, right?" As a joke, and I decided, sure, you are my friend now, and didn't charge him. After that, I never charged for a plastic bag again, because all paying customers are friends of ours. I always felt like it was my little fight against the owner to just give these bags away for free. The last story is called A Lesson for the Snooper. I own a tanning saloon. It is open from 9 AM to 9 PM every day. There are usually 5 to 6 girls working part-time there, and the pay is $12 an hour, plus cash commissions on the things they sell. It's worth noting that it's a small non-chain business in a college town. All of the paychecks are kept in a drawer, in individual envelopes with their employees' names on them, taped shut. They pick up their envelope on payday, and it has worked well, except for one instance. One employee decided to open everyone's envelopes to see their pay, and she was livid that one girl was getting paid $2 more an hour. Instead of just asking me about it, she decided to blast the employee group chat and accuse me of ripping them off, etc. It's worth noting again that this is a college town with all college-age workers. For my particular salon, it has meant it's very hard to consistently have someone who wants to close weekends. I try to be super accommodating and work around everyone's schedules to the best of my ability. If someone says they cannot work, I do not ask questions. I just accept it and plan accordingly. The reason this girl made a little extra was because she offered to close both days every weekend, because she didn't mind. She didn't want as many week hours, so I offered to pay her a little extra, because it was so difficult a lot of the times to schedule that. Plus, those 2 days can be a little slow, so commissions are usually not as good. I guess the girl who snooped never bothered to look at the schedule, to see if there was maybe a reason that girl made a little more, even though she really didn't, because she worked so few hours. I explained the situation to all of the girls. I told the snooper that since she was right, totally a rip-off, I would make sure to fix it. I started scheduling both the snooper and my weekend closer every weekend night for the next 3 weeks. I really only needed one person working, but I had done a terrible wrong that needed to be made right, with the extra pay for the snooper, of course. I would have done it longer, but she apologized and said she was totally fine going back to how it was, because she wanted her weekends back, and the extra pay wasn't worth it. I guess we could have decided that together, if she had just talked to me in the first place, instead of jumping to conclusions. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.